All right, I want you to picture a scenario for me.
Okay.
It's, let's say, 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You should be asleep, but you're not. You're staring at your laptop.
This sounds like the start of a horror movie.
It is, in a way, a travel planning horror movie. You're trying to plan a vacation. You've got one tab open for flights, trying to figure out if a 45-minute layover is, completely insane.
Mm-hmm.
You've got another for hotels, then probably 3 different TripAdvisor tabs because the hotel photos look a little suspicious.
The classic wide-angle lens distrust.
Exactly. And you're toggling back and forth to Google Maps to see if ocean view actually means ocean view, or if it's more like if you hang out the window and use binoculars.
And of course, your laptop fan is just screaming because Chrome is eating all your RAM.
Right. And you look up and you have 50 tabs open, you're stressed, and you haven't booked a single thing. We call this tab fatigue.
Yeah.
And honestly, up until very, very recently, this was just the tax you paid to travel.
It was the friction of the whole experience. But if the research we're looking at today is accurate, the era of the 50-tab browser is, well, it's dead. Or at least it's on life support.
Today on The Deep Dive, we are looking at how AI is fundamentally rewiring the travel industry. And I don't just mean asking a chatbot for a poem about the Eiffel Tower.
No.
We are talking about a major shift from that manual, agonizing research to what the industry is calling AI-assisted curation.
It's a massive shift.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a fascinating stack of sources today. We've got a heavy-hitting industry report from LEK Consulting on market trends.
Right.
We also have a surprisingly readable technical paper from the International Journal on Science and Technology, the IJSAT, that shows us what's happening under the hood.
And then we've got some practical guides from iPlan.ai to help us, actually use this stuff.
Right.
And the mission for this deep dive is to answer a pretty simple question. Is this actually better? Does letting an algorithm plan your trip save you time, or does it just trap you in a filter bubble?
That is the million-dollar question. But before we get to the philosophy, we have to look at the numbers, because the adoption here is, I think, way faster than most people realize.
Yeah, the LEK report actually calls it an inflection point. They found that over half of U.S. adults who flew last year used AI for some part of their planning.
Over half.
I mean, that is a staggering number for technology that feels like it was invented yesterday.
It is staggering, but we have to be a little careful with that stat. It's a big number, but it's hiding a really important nuance.
Okay.
When they say used AI, they aren't necessarily talking about sophisticated travel-specific tools.
Right. Most of it, about 80%? Is what the report calls generalist AI.
Exactly. That people logging into ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Meta AI, they're treating the AI like a, very well-read friend.
They're asking, what are the top 3 things to do in Tokyo? Or write me a packing list for Iceland.
Which is useful.
It is. I've done it. It's great for inspiration. But the report points out that while everyone is using these generalists, there's this huge gap in awareness for the specialists.
And this is the key distinction. The specialists are tools built specifically for travel apps, like Trip Planner AI, Guide Geek, Lila.
Mindship? Yeah.
These were designed to handle the logistics, the booking, the messy details. And the data shows that while 80% of people know ChatGPT, only about 30% even know these specialized tools exist.
So the vast majority of travelers are trying to plan these complex trips using a tool that is essentially a creative writing engine.
That's a perfect way to put it. You're using a poet to do the job of a logistics manager. And that's why you still end up with 50 tabs open.
Because the generalist can give you ideas, but it can't check real-time flight inventory or see if a hotel's actually sold out.
Exactly.
The demographic breakdown of who is using these specialist tools was really interesting to me. It paints a very specific picture of the early adopter.
It really does. It's skewing heavily younger Gen Z and millennials.
Mm-hmm.
It's predominantly male for now.
Mm-hmm.
And it correlates very highly with people who already have travel loyalty memberships or premium credit cards.
Power travelers.
Exactly. The people who treat travel like a sport. They want efficiency. They want to maximize their points. They realize early on that these tools aren't just for chatting.
They're optimization engines.
They are. They're using AI to just cut through all the noise.
But how does that optimization actually happen? I think for a lot of people, AI is still just a black box. You type in a prompt, a little wheel spins, and an itinerary pops out.
Right.
But we have this paper from the IJSOT that actually pops the hood on one of these systems.
This paper was a highlight for me. It's by a team from the KJ Somaya School of Engineering. And I know engineering paper sounds dry, but it's really a blueprint for how this so-called magic happens.
And it turns out it's not magic at all. It's
Yeah,
just plumbing.
it's absolutely plumbing. They describe an architecture where you have the front end, the website you're clicking on, and it talks to a back end built on something called Node.js.
Which for the non-coders among us, Node.js is basically the traffic controller, right?
Right. Think of the Node.js backend as the translator. You type in, I want a cheap trip to Mumbai.
Okay.
The Node.js system takes that messy human sentence and structures it into a data query. Then it sends that query to a large language model. In this study, they use Google's Gemini API.
So the backend is saying to the AI, okay, user wants Mumbai, budget is low, duration 3 days, go.
Precisely. But here's where the specialist part really kicks in. The AI isn't just looking up a Wikipedia article, it's performing what the researchers call contextual analysis.
It's looking at the constraints, time, money, geography, and structuring a logical flow.
Yes.
The Mumbai case study they ran was what really made this click for me, because if I go to Google right now and type Mumbai tourist spots, I just get a list. Gateway of India, Marine Drive,
No.
just a bucket of nouns.
There's no sequence. There's no logic to it. It's just dots on a map.
But the output from the AI in the study, it created a narrative. It said, day 1, start at the Gateway of India. But then, and this is the detail I loved, it scheduled street food at Muhammad Ali Road for 1:00 p.m.
That is a crucial detail. It understands geography, sure, that's a logical next stop, but it also understands human needs. It knows you need to eat lunch.
Right.
And it didn't just say, find a restaurant. It picked a specific, culturally relevant spot known for its food.
It changes the whole experience from just sightseeing to, experiencing. And it did the same thing with hotels. The system lets you toggle your budget, cheap, moderate, or expensive.
And this is where that contextual analysis just shines. When they ran the cheap scenario, the AI didn't just scrape the web to the absolute lowest dollar amount. It recommended specific places like Hotel Kohinoor or Zostel Mumbai.
I know Zostel. That's a hostel chain. It's very social, full of backpackers.
Exactly. So the AI understood that cheap in a travel context usually means hostile vibe, not just some shady motel on the outskirts of town.
That is a massive leap from a simple database search. It's acting like a travel agent who actually knows you. But the thing that really separates these tools from the old way, and this comes up in the iPlan.ai guide, is the concept of the dynamic itinerary.
This is the death of the PDF.
RIP to the printed confirmation email.
Seriously, think about the old way. You plan everything perfectly, you print it out. That plan is static.
Oh.
It's dead on arrival. If you get to your destination and it's pouring rain, that piece of paper cannot help you.
It just sits there mocking you with your 2 p.m. walking tour reservation.
Exactly. The dynamic itinerary concept is that the plan is a living thing connected to live data. iPlan.ai highlights this. If a weather API says heavy rain for Tuesday,
the AI can say, hey, let's scrap that Marine Drive walk. Let's move the Mani Pavan Gandhi Museum to this slot instead.
It reshuffles the deck in real time. It shifts the burden of crisis management from you to the agent. You don't have to scramble to find an indoor activity.
That adaptability extends to personalization, too. The iJSAT paper had these screenshots where you select who you're traveling with. Just me, a couple, family.
And those little icons carry so much algorithmic weight. A family trip to Mumbai looks fundamentally different from a just me trip.
Oh, absolutely.
The AI knows that if you select family, it needs to filter out the late-night backpacker bars. It needs to prioritize the science center or a hotel with a pool.
It acts as a filter for relevance. And it also acts as a financial analyst. iPlan.ai mentioned tools like Hopper. I've used Hopper. It's the one with the bunny logo, right?
That's the one.
It basically just tells you, don't buy this ticket yet, wait 3 days.
And that is AI. That's predictive modeling. It's analyzing millions of historical data points to forecast future pricing. It turns you from a passive consumer into a savvy trader who, buys the dip.
So far, we focused heavily on the consumer side. But the LEK report have a whole section on the corporate side, and honestly, the scale of this just blew my mind. This is the invisible AI.
It is. While we're all playing with chatbots, the major travel companies are embedding AI deep into their infrastructure. You see Expedia plugging into ChatGPT, sure, but look at Marriott. They launched Reen AI.
The AI concierge.
Right. And it's smart because it tries to replicate the knowledge of a local human concierge, knowing the hidden JAF clubs, the best coffee spots, but it's available 24/7.
But the example that really stuck with me because it involves actual physics and huge amounts of money